Hello, and welcome to Unit 3 of the course Using Open Educational Resources for Online Learning and Introduction. By now, you must have completed the learning activities in Units 1 and 2, where you have discussed how to effectively use prescribed learning resources, as well as how to supplement these with Open Educational Resources, OER. In this unit, we explore the various technology access options for the learner. In providing learner support, we need to be able to preempt learner concerns and develop a set of frequently asked questions, also known as FAQs. Various online and digital apps that you can use to provide ongoing advice and feedback to your learners are discussed. In developing plans to support the learner, it is a good idea to think about the learner's learning environment in order to provide adequate teaching and learning support at a distance. Learning environment refers to the diverse physical locations and contexts in which students might learn. During this period of school closures, the learning environment includes locations outside of the classroom and school, for instance, the home. This unit has a total of 8 short activities, 3A to 3H, involving reading, preparing an output, and sharing these with colleagues in the discussion forums. In Activity 3A, we brainstorm relevant technologies that could provide access and learner support for a lesson supported by OER. We ask you to identify how we will distribute learning materials to remote students and think about how we can support them. You will go on to identify possible solutions for distributing an OER lesson and tools for supporting interaction. In Activity 3B, we review the technology access options for learning and learner support. A first step in understanding the technology access options for your learners while at home would be to devise a means to gather this information from your students. You will develop a questionnaire and share your ideas on technology and the learning environment away from school. In this discussion, you will find some ideas on how to gather information on the technologies available to the learner and the learning environment away from school. FAQs are an important resource in providing answers to questions that we might expect the learners to ask. To be able to write effective FAQs, you need to anticipate the difficulties that the learners and their parents are likely to experience while learning or supporting learning activities away from the classroom. In Activity 3C, develop your own FAQs to provide guidance and support for technologies selected for your students. You will be expected to develop questions only. Post a summary of what you have learned from this activity on the discussion forum. In Activity 3D, we draw some inspiration from the table developed by Mrs. Ashmin, a teacher at a secondary school in Fiji, to help her categorize and think about her FAQs. This is an important step in planning the learning and learner support strategy that is appropriate to your context. Ms. Ashmin expects that learners and their parents might need answers to questions as shown in the table. You may want to think about these questions, or indeed others. By developing your own FAQs in this activity, you will be contributing to a pool of possible FAQs for your region. In the remainder of this unit, we explore the use of educational videos and digital apps for learning and learner support. In many countries, lessons are broadcast on local or national radio and TV. If this is the case in your country, then you need to obtain the learning schedule and share it with the learners and parents. However, an alternative to broadcasts is the accessing of educational videos. We learn in this section ways in which teachers can use educational videos for their students. Activity 3E requires you to access some educational videos and reflect on ways in which you could use them in your subject teaching. You can then compare your ideas with those of your peers in the discussion forum. We also explore the use of digital messaging platforms for learning and learner support, giving examples such as Signal, Telegram, and WhatsApp. These technologies can be used to support learners during regular class teaching or when they are at a distance, as they are an effective way to share resources and course information. Activity 3F provides you with some resources on how to install and use digital messaging. You will discuss with your peers whether or not it is a viable tool for learning and learner support in your context. You will sometimes find the need and the means to meet your learners in the same online environment at the same time. This kind of same-time interaction is called synchronous learning and will typically be enabled by video conferencing platforms like Big Blue Button, Zoom, Jitsi, and Wire. In Activity 3G, we reflect on the use of Big Blue Button and share ideas with peers in the discussion forum. Finally, we take a look at a learning management system, LMS, which is a free-to-use suite of tools for the teacher and learner. In Activity 3H, we watch a video on the Moodle LMS. You will then discuss with your peers some of your thoughts on the barriers that you are likely to encounter in using an LMS and how to address them. As you have learned so far, successful online teaching using OER is achievable when teachers have access to appropriate content as outlined in Units 1 and 2. They must also be able to provide support using various technologies as discussed in Unit 3. In Unit 4, we will examine ways in which teachers can manage assessment in ways that support learning. Thank you very much.